Hey everybody, this week's episode is brought to you by Deep Creek Glassworks. Ornaments, pendants, straws, marbles, wine glasses, and functional glass, all unique, durable, and handcrafted. Support a local artist and visit Tanner at Deep Creek Glassworks. That's www.etsy.com/shop/Deep Creek Glassworks. That's WORX. Their creations are stronger glass than what you'll find in stores, so take it from their hands into your home at Deep Creek Glassworks. And just for our listeners, if you enter promo code SUPERFUN, you'll get 10% off of your next order. Once again, that's www.etsy.com/shop/Deep Creek Glassworks.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on Facebook.com/SuperFunPodcast, Twitter.com/SuperFunPodcast, Patreon.com/SuperFunPodcast, Instagram at SuperFunPodcastGo, iTunes at Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! I'm your host, Ralph. Ha! How's that taste? To my left, I have Clark.
Come on, kid.
And to my right, I have Mr. Harry Baus.
I'm sweating like a hooker in church.
You brought a hooker to church?
Yeah, why not? If you can't tell, tonight's game is Uncharted 2 Among Thieves.
Yeah, they would have been able to tell by the hooker reference.
Yeah,
Yes, the
maybe.
hooker.
I know what you're playing, hookers.
If they're a big enough Uncharted fan, they might know. It's possible. So, give me your initial impressions, guys. Clark, you start.
I played the game when it came out. This time I played the remaster. So I went through and got all the trophies and stuff like that.
You got all the trophies? You platinumed it?
No, I don't think you can platinum. You have to platinum the entire collection.
Okay. I was just teasing.
I got a decent amount of the trophies, though. I really, really liked Uncharted 2 when it came out. Having played the subsequent ones afterwards, this kind of actually, I think, falls short. I think this is not the best of the series.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
I think storyline-wise, it's up there, but like it doesn't compete with 4. 4 is incredible.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mechanics-wise, I think 3 was the best. So, I think it's a solid entry. As a standalone, if you're playing through the games, it's better than 1.
okay.
It's an absolute upgrade from Uncharted 1. That's how I immediately felt with it. The only thing it sucks that I didn't like about replaying this on PS4 is that there is no multiplayer. It bothers me because the multiplayer in 2 was incredible.
The things you unlock are for multiplayer, aren't they?
Yeah, but you can't
You
play
can't
them
use
in
them.
multiplayer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. It's an omission.
Yeah.
Harry?
Interesting. So, fresh take on Uncharted 2. I actually, as of when we played the first Uncharted, I'm brand new to the franchise. So, this is all fresh to me. I'm really enjoying the story. Like, the biggest thing, well, not just the story, but like this franchise, it just feels so casual to play. I don't feel kind of forced to play aggressively or have to min-max to get by a mission or anything. Like, I just feel like I can sit down and just enjoy this game casually, and I think that's the biggest takeaway from this franchise. But I am really hyped where this franchise has gone so far, and I just want to continue, cruise on through to 4.
So you beat 3 then?
No. I'm just saying I want to
okay.
keep progressing through this series.
Sure, okay. Personally, similar to Clark, I played this game in 2009 when it came out, but it was my first Uncharted experience. I didn't play the first game. I played the second one first, which I realize is kind of weird. It was one of the highlights of that generation for me. I really enjoyed Uncharted 2, and it was the last game that I can remember trading in and regretting it. Like, I bought it again, but then I just got the collection, and it's like there's no reason for me to go back to the PS3 version. I played the collection, obviously. Having played it this time, I do want to say right off the bat that there are some cracks that I didn't think about, or some things that I picked up this time, and the experience was a little different. I don't want to say it's a full-blown don't go back to your nostalgic favorite games thing where you like it ruins the experience for you. It's not that far, but I do have criticisms.
I don't think this game is old enough for nostalgia yet.
Oh, it's 10 years old.
That's not old enough for nostalgia.
Okay. There could be an argument for that.
when I think nostalgia, I think it needs to harken back to your childhood.
Okay.
Personally, like I think this is out of the realm of that, like, because it's 10 years old, so we were all playing it when we were like 22.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's not that far out.
Maybe nostalgia is too strong a word.
Yeah, but like
For what
think
I'm
about
trying to
that
say.
compared to this, like the nostalgia you feel playing Final Fantasy VII when we were playing it when we were like 13 and 14.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like
Yep.
it's a lot different. And honestly, I hold Final Fantasy VII in a higher regard because of the nostalgia for it.
It's hard to balance that, I feel.
Yeah.
But that's a discussion for another day. Let's get right into story. Let's get right into game development.
Shit
all over my ass.
this fucking episode's trash.
Throw it in the trash.
Guys, whoa.
Game development.
All right. Naughty Dog developed this game.
Boom.
They did it right after the first one.
Boom.
It was uneventful,
Boom.
and they did a great job developing it.
Boom.
No, there was a couple other things.
Pow!
They pounded this out in 22 months.
They pounded it out.
They pounded it.
They
Pounded
just-
it. Jesus. Okay.
That's quick. I'm just saying, the development time on a lot of games these days, a 22-month turnaround is not that bad.
But a sequel, you'd think that they'd be able to do it in that kind of time frame.
It's the same engine as one.
okay,
That's all.
No,
Just
that makes sense.
They learned how to use the hardware better. They optimized it. And a fun fact that I do know about this game is due to the crazy critical and commercial success of this, they got big enough to do 2 projects going forward and split the team, and they went with Uncharted 3 and Last of Us.
And what?
Last of Us.
Oh, The Last of
Stop.
Us. Okay.
Yeah, dude, like
I got it. Nope.
Dead Horse Ralph.
Dead horse?
DHR. Dead Horse Ralph.
Jesus.
No.
There's
I don't like that one.
There's going to be
No.
every letter of the alphabet to signify Ralph in some way.
I don't like that one.
TDRDHR.
Anyway,
TDDH. Tiny Dick Dead Horse Ralph.
yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Anyway, the game development for Uncharted 2, we really don't have any highlights or lowlights, and I think we can move right into story.
Story.
The game begins with Drake hanging from a train near death in a frozen tundra, and we go directly into a flashback. Flynn approaches Drake about helping him find an artifact tied to Marco Polo. After breaking into a museum and to get the lamp, Flynn betrays Drake and reports back to the game's big bad, Lazarevich. Drake is imprisoned and is freed by Sully to begin a pursuit of Marco Polo's trail. Utilizing a dagger/key, he goes after a place called Shambhala, thought to be the Pool of Life. After almost dying in the train incident, a man named Tenzin rescues Drake and brings him to the Himalayas. Discovering an ancient civilization, once climbing the mountain, and its blue inhabitants with godlike health, he battles his way through to a final showdown with Lazarevich at the Tree of Life in Shambhala. After Lazarevich sips from the Fountain of Life and Drake beats him using the resin hanging from the tree, he and his team, Chloe and Elena, make moves to get out of the crumbling city. Elena and Drake seem to amend things to go forward. Roll credits.
All right, so I'll be honest. I think one of the most interesting parts of this story is figuring out who's going to end up being the love interest in the story. I thought I was like...
Really?
I did. I think that the general story is not what popped for me.
Well, let's only talk about what pops.
I'm just saying, like, that was like I thought it was interesting. Like, that was the most interesting dialogue in the game. Like, the character development, just seeing both girls in the group and this constant banter going back and forth. I thought it was just really good growth for all the characters in the game.
I think there's a fantasy going on here that Harry's got. We've got 2 women vying for his affections and trying to see which
Just
one's
like-
going to end up with.
He's
it.
never had that before, so I can see why that's a fantasy.
That's brutal. I think every man wants to be in that position. Just throwing that out there.
I think that plays to like the male, like every guy wants that.
Now, having said that, as far as like character development, my biggest gripe Sully wasn't in this game enough.
Yeah, not enough Sully. That's my gripe in every single Uncharted. There's not enough Sully. It could be a Sully-centric Uncharted game, and there's still not enough Sully.
A prequel that's about Sully.
All about Sully. Only Sully.
Yeah, 'cause,
Only
like,
Sully.
After the first couple missions, he ducked out for a good chunk of the game.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very disappointing. Very disappointing.
Oh, that's Chloe's fault. Like, they had to... Having 4 characters and the dynamic of everyone's running through the jungle and, like, hiding and, like, crawling and stuff, when you really think about it, like... when you're like running through Shambhala and you have to wait for Chloe and Elena to like make all the jumps and stuff, there's a lot of time where you're like, I want to go, and it's not working with 2 people. So I think that probably played into it a little bit, where they were like, well, we can't have like 3 fucking people where you have to like sit and wait, because you're probably sitting there waiting for a good couple minutes every time someone's trying to catch up to you.
All I can think of now is Indiana Jones 4, the end of that, where it's just like a whole gaggle of people running in this ancient city, and I'm starting to see some parallels with Shambhala and the inhabitants, and this came out after that movie, but there's no way that would be I mean, the whole series is an homage to Tomb Raider, but also Indiana Jones.
I think it's more of an homage to Indiana Jones than Tomb Raider.
Right. But yeah, having it's a technical limitation, and it would be too much. It would be too much. I think absence makes the heart grow fonder when it comes to Sully, a little bit, because he's not there for the entire ride. Like I don't know if maybe 20 hours of Sully would be too much, but yeah, he's great.
Nah,
20 hours in a shot would be too much. Yeah, I was actually going to lead into the romantic interests, like to go off of what you were saying, Harry. Basically, I knew that Chloe wasn't gonna end up being the thing, because I know where the story goes.
Yeah.
But I remembered incorrectly. I thought Chloe bought it in this game. I thought something happened and she bought it, or I was like waiting for it. I was like, here it is. She's gonna. Oh wait, she's still alive. Okay, well, it just didn't happen. And then I was surprised when Elena got injured. I forgot about that part where she like took that grenade to the abdomen.
When Flynn dies.
Yeah, Flynn.
Yeah, Flynn pretty much pulls a fucking grenade, pulls the pin, lets go of the clip, and just blows himself up. It's kind of like oddly anticlimactic for him.
A little bit. I thought he was the better villain character-wise between him and Lazarovich.
Yeah, because
Lazarovich.
Because they had like history. Yeah, like I 100%. He was the better villain.
Yeah,
and like
a
really
douchebag,
anticlimactic, and I don't know. There was like no substance between Lazarovich and Drake.
Yeah.
It was just Drake had to stop him.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go save the world.
Now, before we get too far away from the girls, though.
I wanted to touch on that.
I thought they were going to treat it more of like a James Bond thing, where it's like new female each game, or something like that. Like going into the game, I thought that because they didn't show Elena right off the get go. You ran into her, I don't know, maybe a third of the way through the game.
I'd say like halfway. Cause
maybe.
It's when you're on the trail of Lazarovich.
Something like that.
Yeah. You're in the city when you run into her and the cameraman.
Right.
So I thought Chloe was, she was the chick for this game, and then move on to another one for 3 and another one for 4. I thought that's the direction they were going to go. But I don't know. I was surprised when things took a turn.
I think it was pretty obvious that Chloe wasn't going to be like the girl he ends up with at the end. She really lays it on thick as I'm the stopgap. I'm that chick that's like, ooh, we have a sexy history together, but there's like no substance to our relationship whatsoever. So like the whole like romantic triangle thing didn't play for me. I even in the first game, as soon as I saw Elena was there, I was like, oh, she's awesome. Like this is how this is going to end. It's going to be them. Because you can just tell from number 1 how much they were into each other, and just like how Drake is a very like open person when he's talking about stuff. A lot of the times he's not very secretive unless it's a bad guy. With the people that he cares about, like Sully and stuff, like he's very like open and upfront. But like when Chloe kind of questions him about like, oh, what happened with like her, he's like, I just don't want to talk about it.
Who was it that says last year's model? I'm trying to remember.
Elena says I'm last year's model because she feels intimidated by Chloe. But I think even at that point it was very, very obvious, because I don't know if he thinks that Chloe's more skilled than Elena at like the climbing and stuff, but like he's always calling out to Elena to make sure that she is okay. Less so with Chloe. That's something that I noticed actively. He's actively asking about Elena, not so much about Chloe. He either trusts her skills and talent, or he just doesn't care as much. I go with the angle that I don't think he cares as much because he's like into Elena, and I think that's like the main love interest.
You can almost tell that too, because there was a lot of times where Chloe's like, cut him loose, and he refuses like every time.
Every
like,
fucking time.
No, I gotta save everybody, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, and like the first time she pretty much says like, "Oh, we need to cut him loose," you just know because of the character that Drake has. There's no fucking way that she's gonna be the end girl for him. You know, like because he needs someone that cares about other humans.
Too cutthroat, no compassion.
Yep, too cutthroat, no compassion, no love for other humans.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I think a lot of it is a front, because there is a couple times where she
cares about Drake, but she also ultimately only cares about herself. She puts Drake in situations where he can die by betraying him in front of Lazarevich instead of like actively trying to help. Like there's a point where she has a gun and then two people walk in and only one person has a gun, and like Flynn doesn't have his gun out. She could have easily killed the person who was like not ready with his gun and then killed Flynn, but instead she pointed the gun at Drake and then got the cameraman pretty much killed.
But then we wouldn't have a third act to the story. Yeah, I know.
Yes, for plot devices, sure, but also like, you know what I mean? Like if we're talking about just like real characterism, like that is, I think, what sets her back in Drake's eyes.
It wasn't that ass. I know that.
He does he does like that ass. He keeps like talking about it. That's right. Oh, nice view down here.
And then when she leaves, she's like, "You're gonna miss this ass," or whatever, and walks away. It's so funny. And I think, I don't know if this is graphics or not, but I was like, did they like model her ass to be a little bit more round than Elena's intentionally? It must have been.
Peach.
Gotta stop Lazarevich, but peach.
what else is there to talk on the story?
On to graphics. No, I'm kidding.
We just skip over gameplay.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I want to say that I like the setting in Nepal and everything that happens in the Himalayas. I feel like there's a distinct break in the story.
I'm
with
Nepal.
the
Do you
train.
feel that way?
Get the fuck out.
Wow.
I had to get one in.
Wow.
I had to get one pun in for Steve's absence, which we didn't address.
Well,
but Steve's not here. If you're making it here and wondering where he is, he's not in this one. So I had to, that one was for Steve.
one was enough.
Mm-hmm. Yes, 100%.
I really like the clear break when he passes out after the train sequence and we start in the Himalayas. I really feel like it's two separate chapters there, or two different acts, you could say.
I'm going to counter
Okay.
your statement. I like the setting of the first one more.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I don't know if we briefly talked
We
about
talked
this.
about this, yeah.
So I guess we're bouncing around to different places in this game.
Yeah, Borneo and the middle section in the city. I can't remember where that is, but then you're definitely in Nepal at the end.
Okay. I don't even know how to describe it. The whole island scenario in the first one, I don't know. It just felt like more of, we're going on an adventure. This felt a little bit more.
We're going on an
We're
adventure.
going on an adventure. I don't know. I don't even know how to say it more elaborately than that. I like the setting of the first one. There's just all-inclusive island, just the environments. I loved exploring them. This, going through some of the cities, I didn't really care for. I don't know. Certain areas, outside of the train setting. Train setting was fucking amazing.
In the first one, you're doing all of the traveling to all of your places. In this one, it's like we got on a plane and we went 100, 200 miles away. And it has like in the first one, you're doing all the travel all around the island. It's all self-contained.
So you're almost seeing the adventure from start to finish without breaks and time.
Right. This one's giving you like some time passing. I mean, there's the 3 months where he's in prison. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's gaps in time in this. So it's like a longer timeline, but it's
like you're only playing the highlights.
Right.
in that
It's
period
like
of
to
time.
set up bigger set pieces
Yeah.
rather than the travel. But I mean, flying on a plane for a level would be
No,
kind of boring.
I'd like to do that in real time
Yeah.
with a layover.
Yeah.
He's gonna love Metal Gear Solid 4. Also, your island setting, Far Cry 3. I think you'll really enjoy that.
Far Cry 3
Is basically the whole thing's on a secluded tropical island.
I mean, I also played Dead Island, and I wasn't in love with that game.
Okay, well,
Dead
Anyway.
Island is not a great game. Far Cry 3 is like I could argue that being a top 3 shooter of all time. I could sit and argue that all fucking day.
But yeah, no, you're entitled to your opinion there. I just felt a different way.
oh yeah, no, I don't know what it is. I like the fact that we're like looking at this old expedition from Schaefer, and we're climbing around Tenzing, and we can't. There's no communication really, and they're doing their whole thing. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but I really like that section. I mean, the train section is fantastic as well, and it's the highlight of the game. I feel I really do. Not getting to Shambhala, not the game was. It felt like it was structured around this train sequence. Like, okay, we started with a train, and then we built outward from there.
Yeah, kinda. I bet you they did.
Yeah. I have to say that when I first played this game, I was buying the whole thing hook, line, and sinker, loving it. And then you come across like the Yeti monsters, and for me, it took me right out of the game, and I was like, oh no, why'd they do this? Why did they incorporate this Yeti? Like, even though the whole game is fantastical and mysticism like exists in the universe, I just couldn't. It broke my suspension of disbelief that there's an actual Yeti in the game. And then as you continue and press on, find out that's actually these Guardians dressed up like these things. That restored a lot of my faith in the game. And I was like, okay, I can kind of, even though they look like Warcraft orcs, like what are they? I mean, they're not green, but they look weird. And unless I missed it, they don't really explain, like, they're human, but they're weird. And if eating the resin makes you go crazy and it makes your teeth black and you murder everybody, how are these people here? Are they using the resin like subtly to change who they are? Like, it wasn't explained.
Yeah, I like you kind of see it when Lazarevich has his like little transformation where like you can see all of the veins in his head kind of go real blue.
Well,
like the other like the Guardians have like these like purple veins in their head. I don't know if you like killed one and like really like looked at it, but like when Lazarevich like eats the resin and starts going fucking crazy, you start to see his veins like kind of bulge a little bit.
I thought his scars healed.
Well, his scars healed, but like when that happens, you kind of see it pulse through his veins.
Okay.
I think that it's like the slow ingestion of the resin turns you into like a guardian type creature where you're like this unstoppable fucking force. But
that's the way I kind of looked at it.
Then again, there's no way to kill Lazarevich with just bullets where you can kill the Guardians. But it could be because they slowly ingest it and not like big globs of it.
Right.
Like they could have eaten less in their entire lifetime than Lazarevich took in his like 2 mitts and just fucking downed it.
It's true. And I just feel like it wasn't explained. But to me, I distinctly remember being sucked out of the game when we came across this Yeti monster thing, and then they kind of fixed it, and I was okay with the rest of the game. I don't really have too much more to say about the story. It hits a lot of beats that you'd expect from this kind of adventure, like a Indiana Jones archaeology. I don't know, even a little bit Nick Cage, National Treasure kind of stuff.
I actually forgot that the Guardians were the Yetis, and so like when the Yeti showed up, I was like, wait, so I guess the blue people are in 3 then? Like, and then I was like, oh, okay, that makes more sense.
See, I knew there was going to be a supernatural element.
There's the one in every game.
Yeah, and besides, like, even before playing this franchise, I remember seeing memes online where, well, I brought it up the last episode, but the guy throws him out of the window. He's like, let's try something new and not do the X, Y, and Z kind of thing. But playing the first game, I think, introduces you. So you played the second one first.
Right.
So playing the first one, they kind of slowly well, no, I guess they don't. It was like a hard cut for that.
It was like a horror segment of the game.
Yeah, I remember that. So I was like, I thought it actually came late in the game for this one because the whole village where you're like where the tree is at, you're only there for what is it, 1 or 2 missions? I think
it's like 2 chapters.
Yeah.
But then you have to defend the city. Like after you do everything in the mountain, you go back to the city and you have to fight the tank and everything. All that is in the same city.
No, I
This-
meant
the
like
village.
the final.
Oh.
He's talking about Shambhala.
Shambhala.
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
It's like the last 2 chapters of the game. That's it.
Yes. I don't know. I think the supernatural element came a little late in the game, and I wasn't turned off by it. I actually really enjoyed that fight when you're in the ice cavern.
And it's one-on-one.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I thought it was cool, just very cinematic, where you're getting beaten down and then your partner's jumping on the back with the dagger. Like, I just thought it looked so fucking badass. But I think that was like you see him crawling on the cavern walls and everything, but that's like the definitive moment when they open up the game to the supernatural element.
Yeah, that first reveal of the Yeti monster or whatever, like you don't see it at first and you're climbing and then it like moves away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh God, it totally caught me off guard.
My respect for this game shot up like 50% with that last scene in the game when Elena and Drake are staring off the cliff and they're just this banter back and forth. It was so well written.
Which is like, oh, my death is a 4 out of 10, really? What's a 10? And he's like, clowns.
Yeah, like that whole segment was just so rich in character. I loved it. I loved every moment of that scene. I wish there was more of that throughout the game. Like there was a lot of great moments in the game, but that just was like on a whole new level. That just very final scene.
Cool. I think that's a great place to end your story.
Absolutely.
Personally.
Yep.
So let's move into gameplay. Or let's
turn around, run forward, facing backwards.
Oh God,
into
yeah.
gameplay.
Let's vault into gameplay.
Gameplay.
How does Drake still have fingers?
I don't
When-
know,
when
because it doesn't
he-
seem to matter if it's like
Metal
ice or
or
anything.
he just like leaps and grabs onto like a metal sign, and I'm just like, fingers would just like slice right off.
So like it doesn't really show in the game, but like he has like 4 inches of callus on his fingers.
You're gonna say he had little hairs and he clings on like a spider.
Yeah, he's actually Spider-Man.
No, really though. I mean, if he had a pair of gloves, I would have bought the whole thing, like hook, line, and sinker. Especially when they're in the Himalayas. Like if he had a pair of gloves on, but no gloves.
Chainmail gloves, maybe.
No, I hate to say it, but leather gloves. Like if he had leather gloves on, I would have been. Yeah, but you're right. That's not a soft hand petting Elena at night. That is a coarse dog. That is
coarse dog.
Some wrinkled,
A coarse dog.
wrinkled fingers.
I imagine his hands probably feel like concrete.
Yeah. My sandpaper digits.
Sorry, I didn't mean to start off the segment.
No, it's
I
great.
imagine,
It's fine.
like
You're
like,
right.
When he goes to take a piss, he probably gives his dick brush burn just by
Oh
like
my
trying
God.
to grab it. Like,
What? First thought, go straight to dicks.
That is a theme on our show.
because like I'm thinking about like, oh, what if I had fucking like concrete for fucking hands? And I'm like, what would be the worst thing that I do every fucking day? Whoa. Yeah. Because that's how I piss. I clap my hands together on my dick. It's like a ritual. Everyone looks at me at work real weird.
Yeah.
Because I do it in the middle of the floor too. I'm just, ah!
Chanting.
The alternate method to the shake.
Yeah.
Just
Oh God! How did we get here? So it's a third-person shooter adventure game.
so we're not
We're
talking
talking
about
no, we're
concrete
talking about we're not
dicks.
talking about that. We're talking about Uncharted. Right off the bat, I want to say that playing it this time, the shooting started to really grate on me. I was like, oh my God, more snipers. Oh my God, another shotgun, dude. Okay, I just want to get on to the next climbing segment. I really enjoy the climbing segments. I enjoy the puzzles, even if they're a little slow. But the shooting, in essence, the shooting, I started to get tired of it. I realized it's a third-person shooter, and I got tired of the shooting. What's wrong with me?
I think the shooting in this game is really inaccurate because they never want to give you a real crosshair. They always give you like the circle.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the biggest problem that I have with most Naughty Dog games when it comes to the shooting and stuff. I mentioned it in Last of Us as well.
But that one
think,
doesn't bother me as much.
But it's the exact same shooting mechanic. It's the exact same engine for it.
I know it's the same engine, but it felt different. I can't.
It even has the wobble.
Yeah. I know.
When you get shot, it goes immediately to what like the default Last of Us aim is.
I think I just got sick of the bullet spongy enemies.
Yeah, everyone's bullet sponge.
Yeah.
The shotgun guys, like, you gotta knock their helmet off first. You gotta shoot them in the head, or it just...
Or you need to have, like, a high-powered fucking rocket launcher or
Mhm.
one of the shotguns to, like,
Mhm.
you know, unload an entire clip into them. When you can take out one guy by grazing him with a shotgun, regular.
The Desert Eagle I really liked. I would just pick that sucker up and boom, 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 one
Yep.
shot all of them. That was satisfying, but that's only because the other stuff was so... God, another one.
Yeah, you were going through almost like a whole clip on the like the AK to take down one generic enemy. Like
Right.
it was insane how much ammo you're pissing through in this game.
Yeah, like, they're the numbers behind the graphics. I think, like, the AK was, like, way too low. Like, an AK round is bigger than any of the other fucking rounds that you're firing in that game, except for, like, the Desert Eagle rounds.
Or the Dragunov.
The Dragunov as well. But a Dragunov comes in
Towards the end.
546 ammo as well, which I think is... Or not 546. 757, which is what an AK fires. So, like, it's like one of those things where, like, why is one bullet from this more powerful than another bullet from that? I get the like the balance between, like, handgun and rifle.
Yeah, 9mm Beretta versus
An
assault
AK-47,
rifle. Yeah.
but, like, an AK-47 should not be outdamaged by a pistol, because you can do way more damage with a full clip from the pistol than you could with the AK-47, and I thought that was completely inaccurate.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I just think it's one of the systems that they ignored, because that carries throughout the entire franchise. It doesn't get better.
Right, okay.
And that's that. I think it's just their system that they have adopted, and they're like, this is just what we're going to go with for all of our shooter games. It's because it's pretty much the same way. They fine-tuned it a little bit.
There's more subtlety
in
in
Last of Us. There is bullet archetypes where it matters what you're shooting at whom, but there's also different enemy, like, there's vastly different enemies, so they think they had to revisit it, but it's still the same general shooting mechanics. You never get a crosshair. It's always the circle. Like, it's always, you know, and that's my biggest gripe with any of the Uncharted games, or any Naughty Dog games in general, is they're not good with shooters. However, it's odd because you guys didn't get to experience this. I don't know if you played it back in the day, but on the multiplayer side of it,
No, I didn't play that.
the guns are ridiculously balanced. They're perfectly balanced. You can down somebody in half a clip, another player, in with an AK. Like, there's way more balance and way more subtlety, and I think they tried to make it, like, way more competitive, but, like, just adopt that system back into your game. I don't know if they thought it would be too easy, because, like, the shooting isn't tough in this. You're not required to have a lot of skill to get through these, and I think that just, like, plays on the character, because, like, they don't want to make Drake like a killing machine, but
Even though he is.
he racks up like 200-300 bodies by the end of each one of his fucking
Yeah, Lazarovich
escapades.
even comments on it in the classic "We're Not So Different, You and I" speech.
Yeah.
He says, how many men did you kill today?
Yeah, he's like, you and I are no different.
How many men did you kill today? He's Count Dracula, Lazarovich.
Count Lazarovich.
Count Lazarovich. To go off what you're saying, I want to make an analogy here. When it comes to racing games, there are arcade games and sim games. And it's like sim is for realism and arcade is for fun. This is an arcade shooter, is the way I'd like to describe it. They're not going after realism. So it's a little arcadey. But even still, the way that the gunplay works in this, I started to get tired of it. And I tired of getting one-shotted by a shotgun guy who can eat up 2 clips of an M4. Like, it just... Sorry. And then when we got to the Guardians, it got even worse. The Guardians were fucking ridiculous. Before you kill that first Guardian and get its crossbow, it's a fucking nightmare. And I'm playing it on normal mode.
Yeah,
I'm not playing it on unrealistic or crazy, hardcore, brutal.
And then why is the crossbow so overpowered?
It's gold. It's got gold in it.
Shit.
Oh, shit.
You didn't use the crossbow?
I did not use the crossbow.
Yeah, the crossbow one-shot kills the Guardians.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, but it's... But that's a problem. That's a fucking problem. I'm sorry, but, like, if you had the choice between a Desert Eagle or a fucking crossbow in any situation where that does not require stealth,
I would use the Desert Eagle.
the Desert Eagle will outperform the crossbow every single time.
Unless you're hunting a squirrel and you want to keep it as a trophy, because the Desert Eagle will just blow it to smithereens. You can't see Clark's face, but he just rolled his eyes pretty hard.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
You actually wouldn't kill a squirrel with a crossbow either.
Well, I guess that was my reasoning for not using the crossbow. I thought it was going to be extremely weak and
You didn't use it at all?
No.
Because you can stealth kill guards with it, like earlier on, before you get to the Guardians, like just normal enemies. That's a one-shot kill. Boop.
Yeah, I didn't use it. I was just like, I'm not interested.
Oh, yeah.
You probably didn't want to lose all your machine gun ammo.
Well, yeah,
right?
I think they only came with 3 bolts, right?
Yeah,
Something like that.
You would have to find another one, and they're like super rare drops, and like they drop just as about as rare as the RPGs. But like, dude, you could shoot an RPG at one of the Guardians, and they would run. They would like just truck right through it. You shoot them with a fucking crossbow in like the arm, and they're dead. You're like, what? This doesn't make any fucking sense. Sorry, I'm going to stop rambling about the shooting mechanics. I've done that several times now, so
I was going to cut you off.
Yeah, I'm gonna let it go.
That's only one, like a third of what I wanted to talk about in terms of gameplay was the shooting. When it came to the climbing, I found the climbing to be a lot of fun, and it's very simple. It doesn't take a lot of skill. It's just sort of like the game developers are like, okay, we're going to take you on this little adventure, and you're going to explore it vertically. And it's clear-cut, and you go and you do it. And even though it's not hard, it's enjoyable. It's exciting and fun to do, I feel.
Yeah, I 100% agree. My favorite segments are like when you're like scaling something. And what I really appreciated is I have a fear of heights. And when I get near heights that make me uncomfortable, I feel it in my hands. Like my hands start to get like a weird like tingling sensation. I really don't like the height. It like invokes a fear in me. When I'm playing games like Uncharted, if they nail the scale of something and make me fear that height, while I'm playing the game, I will get that tingling in my hands and my palms will get a little sweaty. And like that happens to me in this game, and I think there's just like the scale of how they do the climbing and things is just some of the best in any game. Because like conversely to that, I can play a game like Infamous where you're scaling buildings all the time and not get weird about it, or like Spider-Man, not get weird about it at all. But a game like this, it really makes you like feel the height.
It probably has something to do with the camera.
Yeah.
Because there are those moments where the camera, you lose control of it, basically, and it stylizes the angle for you.
Yeah, it's definitely has something to do with the fixed camera. Because I think fixed cameras in general always evoke a odd emotion that since they're the directors, they get to kind of like push on you. That's why I think the first couple of Resident Evil games are way more impactful and scary than anything else that they put out when you can control the camera.
Yeah, they're not horror games anymore.
Right.
Unless
really
it's 7.
not.
I haven't played 7, but yeah.
Well, okay, just to build on your thoughts with the climbing, I found for extensive scenes with the climbing, it got annoying towards the end. I think the biggest highlight with the climbing is when it's mixed with the shooting, where it's a little bit of both. Like some of those scenes, like when you're running through the town and the tank is coming through, you're doing a lot of environment interaction while shooting at the same time. I think the integration of both of those elements of the game make for the most interesting scenes in the game.
Okay, yeah.
Or like with the train, you're doing a lot of environmental stuff climbing on the train, but you're also actively firing at enemies as well.
Yes, like
super big highlight.
When you can like balance your incredible like climbing platforming mechanics with your lackluster shooting, and you can I'm just
you're good.
Seriously, all of the elements that like Harry, like the specific 2 things that you were just talking about, it requires like really no accuracy, because you're shooting in a giant tank that takes up half your screen with a rocket launcher when you're doing that stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, not even that specifically, but like the enemies you're seeing in the back alley while you're trying to run from the tank and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Like it's just, but it doesn't require accuracy. You don't have to like, you're not like standing there and like, okay, everyone's going to be ducking in and out of cover.
Yeah.
I think when they go into like that coverage stuff with the shooting is where they start to fall apart. But like when it's the quick arcadey, like actiony sequences, and you are doing the platforming, because they incorporate that really well with the arcadey style of shooting, that's when the game really shines, I think.
And I think, to nail it on the head there, is I think what we're looking for is the cinematic experience in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much the gameplay or mechanics or anything, but this overall conglomerate where it feels almost like you're playing a movie.
Yeah.
Like an action movie.
That's definitely one of their goals, I think.
Yeah. So I think the moments where it takes a step back and there's a lack of story, you're just progressing for the sake of progressing, that's maybe some of the weaker points of this game.
That's a fair argument. That sort of ties into the third gameplay aspect, which I wanted to talk about, which was the puzzles, which are kind of tied to the climbing. Those were just kind of like, okay, I know exactly what I got to do, and I got to do all this bullshit to get to it. And there are only really like, 3 big sort of figure it out rooms or puzzles that come to mind, but all of them, I mean, it was kind of interesting, but at the same time, you're just pulling levers and switches and moving things around.
I like it. I think that added that needed flavor to feel more like Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying take it out of the game. I'm just saying...
The room with the giant dagger was fucking cool. I really liked that room.
Oh, yeah.
Like where you
had to shine the light and you had to lower down...
Yeah, you lower down the 3 things and then it drops into the person.
See, I liked the room with the pressure plates and you had to put the right emblem matching the picture and then turn
like the circular
the
room
glyph on that. I thought that was a cool puzzle because it was multi-layered.
Yeah.
And you're like flipping through pages of the diary,
trying to connect the dots kind of thing. I thought that was kind of cool.
There are several games that make you like have this diary that you like go into a menu and look at. I think just the fact that he pulls the book out and opens it and then you flip through it, that just nails, like, it just keeps you in it, and you're not seeing a menu with a HUD, and, like...
It's a good use of the touchpad as well.
It is, it is.
I put them down in my diary so I wouldn't have to remember. It makes me think of Last Crusade every time.
Yes. Yeah, that. I think
a
that's
movie
the
that you haven't seen, because if I say...
I've seen Last Crusade.
Yeah, you just haven't seen it as much as I have.
Yeah, I don't obsess.
Okay, I got a test. This is completely unrelated to the game. Real quick. Sorry. I'm not interrupting. You didn't get to start.
But we're going to get away from the thing that I wanted to speak on.
All right, go ahead. I can remember what I wanted.
No, go for it. Just go for it. It's fine.
If I said to you, yes, this is a castle, and we have many tapestries, but if you are a Scottish lord, then I am Mickey Mouse. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's from Indiana Jones.
Well, we were just talking about Indiana Jones.
So that's not fair. You said
I did it out of
nowhere. Completely out of context.
I did it out of nowhere. Okay.
I would have gotten that because it's my favorite of the Indiana Jones movies. But I'm just saying I grew up watching Indiana Jones movies, and it's why I like these games so much.
Yes.
I literally from the time I was like 5 or 6 was watching the Indiana Jones movies. Didn't fully understand everything that was going on. Didn't understand Nazis. Didn't understand why Kali Ma and like rip out a fucking heart. I didn't get any of that.
Kali Ma,
but like the whole like heroic, intelligent archaeologist
womanizing.
Style. Well, I didn't pick up on that either. I was fucking 5. Like,
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying, like, that stuff is like what hit home with me. Like, like kids usually have like their superhero that they like to like dress up as or whatever and stuff. I had a fucking hat and a rope and boots and would walk around as Indiana Jones. Like, that was me when I was a kid. Back to what you were saying. I think that is one of the biggest homages to Indiana Jones in the game is the diary.
The diary, yeah.
The diary, every time he pulls it out, I just think of, like, what do you mean you brought the diary?
We don't need the diary. Marcus has the map.
Like, it just brings me back to, like, that whole scene where he's like, no, I sent it to you so it was away. I brought it back to you.
Should have sent it to the Marx Brothers.
I should have sent it to the Marx Brothers. Like, it brings me back to that, and it like makes me super nostalgic every time you pull the diary out.
Harry's like, what's a diary?
Dear diary.
Mood apathetic. My life is spiraling.
Today I discovered a new use for chocolate milk.
Oh, God. But no, that
Love Harry.
that was a good puzzle. The one where you gotta like turn the bells later on, I thought that was kind of dumb. Or turn the things.
After you kill all the fucking Yetis. Or it's right before you kill all the fucking Yetis.
Yeah.
In the room with the torches.
Yeah.
That
I
was
died a few times in that room.
Yes, so did I. That was one of 2 segments that I had a real tough time getting past. There was something about that. Maybe...
The Yetis were brutal. If the Yetis hit you once or twice, it was over.
Well, I wasn't using the mechanic of running and shooting. I was just trying to fight them flat out. And
Yeah.
It was not letting me do it. You had to just run and do your turnaround shoot thing. And there was only one other scene where you needed to do that, and it was when that car was chasing you down the alley.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
It was like the only other part, so I didn't know that was a normal mechanic in the game. So I didn't think to use that until I accidentally hit some buttons.
Just
And I
like
was
run
like,
and gun.
Yeah, and then you could just use run and gun, whatever. It wasn't a very good tutorial when that car, because it automatically turned it around for you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
Same thing happens with the bridge at the end, though. You're not being chased by a vehicle, but you're outrunning the crumbling bridge.
Yeah.
It does that.
But that
perspective
happened
change
after
again.
that Yeti fight
Oh, yeah.
as well.
That's true.
And you're not gunning.
True.
The other point that I had a real tough time with was that fight, the melee fight you had to have at the end of the train.
Me too.
I had a real issue getting past that.
Because he like throws grenades. I had trouble with him.
I was trying techniques where I was stunning him with grenades and then running back a car so I could have longer to shoot at him.
Mhm.
And I don't think the game allows you to kill him outright with guns and grenades and everything. You
Right.
have to win in a melee combat with
Yeah.
him.
I think you're right. I definitely fought him at least 10, 15 times.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It was very frustrating.
I fought him a few times. I don't think I struggled as hard. What I was doing was I would run up to the seats and like take cover.
Yeah,
and wait for him to get close and then just start right into the melee. That's what I was doing to get past it. Like I would just start right into the melee because I wasn't thinking to shoot him outright because he outgunned me.
Do you guys have a lot of pitfall deaths where you thought you could reach something?
Yep.
Or you weren't sure where to go and you were just experimenting?
I'm a sucker for like the shiny treasure everywhere,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I would die a lot trying to get some of that treasure.
Gotcha. How about Lazarevich?
I don't know.
Twice.
Twice.
I died once.
I think I beat him while I was talking to you.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then you could hear like all the announcements from him in the background because I forgot to mute the TV. Usually I mute my TV and just wear the headset.
Yeah.
But I had the TV up and the headset up. So Clark heard everything coming through the TV.
Yeah. It took you a few times. It took you like a good half hour to beat him.
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
There were so many. You had to hit him with so many of those resin
It's true.
grenades on it. Like it was like 4 or 5 phases long, I think.
Yeah.
But
And then he
that
starts
fight.
chucking grenades, like multiple grenades.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I think the key is just keep moving in that match. You can't
Yeah.
stop. As long as you keep distance, you're fine.
I was using the run and gun mechanic for that because I would wait for him to come around, shoot, and then I'd try to run as quickly as I fucking could away from him and then set up in an area. And as soon as he came around, fire one, maybe get a second one, and then like have to like run and gun for a third. Like it was, you had to put a lot of the mechanics together to beat him like with ease.
Sure.
You can struggle through that boss fight, which I appreciate. Like you can like long con take him out where you're like just running to the complete opposite side. You have to line up a shot, fire it, and then you need to just run to the opposite side because he'll chase you one way. This I was kind of letting him within like 15 yards of me.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is I make a mistake, I'm dead. But I was like, boom, I would get one, and like I could like run and gun and line up the next shot because I was getting the timing down of him stunned and running again. But yeah, like I do like that you can long con that boss fight.
You have some options.
Yeah.
His shotgun is kind of bullshit. There's one cutscene where he fires it 3 times in the span of like 5 seconds, and I was like, wait a minute, that's a double barrel shotgun. But in the boss fight, he can basically hit you just about wherever, despite the range. The range for shotguns seems to affect our shotguns, but not his. He's got a special shotgun. I did struggle a lot with Lazarevich in 09 the first time I played it. And I tried to shoot him to beat him. I didn't put together I guess I just never shot the resin around him, or I wasn't using the destructible, environment as a method. And ultimately, I beat him way back. And I remembered the struggle when I got there this time. So I just did a quick search. I was like, wait, what's the key to this again? Oh, right. And found that I basically did something similar where I kept a good distance, waited for him to walk into view near one of. I kept the resin tree in my line of sight, and when he got near, boom, popped it, and then just kept going, and I got him first try. So he's a change up to the gameplay mechanics, I felt, but not completely unbeatable. But yeah, I can't think of any other gameplay aspects. There was no driving. I know driving comes in.
There was that mission where you're shooting
jumping
backwards in the Jeep, and you're just blowing up fucking vehicles.
with
you.
grenade.
Oh yeah, with the M40. Yeah.
I enjoyed that. A little over the top.
Oh,
Actually,
for
extremely
sure.
over the top, but I
He
enjoyed
blew up
it.
like 37 vehicles. Yeah, it's pretty over the top. Could you imagine watching that from afar? Like if you're on like a different mountain and you just see like this fight, and then all of a sudden you just see all these explosive like trucks just blowing up. Because you'd be watching it and it'd be like along the. Just be like,
yeah.
pop, 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 as you go along the fucking mountainside. You're like, what the fuck is happening over there? Well, I'm gonna go back to my yurt. Like, that's weird. Start whittling a spear.
Oh my god. I think then we should climb our way through graphics.
Graphics.
So let's just get right out of the way. We all played the remastered version from the Nathan Drake collection. Having said that, in 2009, this was one of the best looking PlayStation 3 games that existed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the things that was cited by most reviews at the time, was like, this game is visually great. And I remember specifically when the train wrecks at the end of that chapter before you go into the tunnel. That clip, I saw that clip so often, and when it happened in the game, I was like, oh, okay. Like, heck, I was used to it by that point, because every review included it, every commercial for the game included it. It was like the highlight of the game is the train. The highlight of the train sequence is the ending cutscene there, where the train crashes like that and just spins and spins and spins. And spins.
Digital Foundry actually used that video as a benchmark for 1080p for a really long time.
Oh, really?
Yes, they did.
I did not know that. Having said that, I don't know if it was just some kind of trick or something that I didn't notice before, but the game looked good on the remastered version. And I got a new TV starting around chapter 4, and then when the train sequence is over and you pass out and you begin in Nepal in the village, the game looked different. And I don't know exactly what it was. It seemed like the frame rate was better and everything was crisper and the lighting was amazing. And then when we went to the next chapter, it dipped back down again. It was almost like because in that level, that section of the village, you're just following Tenzing until you get to Schaefer.
Right,
So
the
you're
whole
just
thing's like
walking through.
scripted, pretty much.
Yeah, it was. But it seemed like that slice of the pie, everything just looked better. And then when you get back to normal-ish game, and it wasn't a cutscene, but you get back to normal-ish gameplay, it didn't diminish a lot, but I could tell that the graphical fidelity was different. And I can't explain that. And I haven't done any research to see if there's any truth to that for the remaster. It reminds me of, in Metal Gear 4, stay with me here, in Metal Gear 4, there's, in the first chapter, a section where you go into one of the buildings, like before you meet up with Meryl. You go into the building, and I distinctly remember the frame rate feeling different. And it turns out that certain sections of Metal Gear Solid 4, it's 60 frames per second, but most of the time it's 30. And it had to do with you being in this closer environment, the frame rate was able to be higher, and it was a variable. And it caught me off guard. I don't know if that's something similar that's happening here, where just for that snippet, things look better, and I don't know why. I don't know.
That was actually something with the PS3, all the games on PS3 in general. The cell processor was really hard to harness for a lot of people. That's why
It's like 8 core, isn't it? Something like that?
yeah, the choice to roll with the cell processor for PlayStation is ultimately what allowed Xbox 360 to win out, because developers didn't want to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. They figured out if they developed it on 360 and then ported it to PS3, they would have better results and less development time.
I feel like we're going to talk about the orange box here. The orange box is a big part of that
Yes.
discussion.
I'm not going to like delve super into that, but like the cell processor like saga essentially is that certain games, they never locked PS3 games like they do with PS4 games, where it's like, okay, locked at 30, locked at 60. They would kind of let the processor do its thing and really let it like ramp up when it could to 60, or try to set it as like a minimum benchmark of 30. And a lot of games would just break that benchmark, and then it would cause a bunch of issues. Skyrim comes to mind.
I haven't played vanilla Skyrim on a console in so long.
Yeah, Skyrim and Fallout. Bethesda was terrible, infamously, at programming with the cell. Anyway.
Do you guys have any idea what I'm talking about with that Nepal chapter?
Yeah, 100%. I think the Nepal chapter runs and looks a lot smoother, and there's a lot more fidelity to the movement. And then you're getting, it's the difference between 60 and 30 frames. If you can tell the difference between 60 and 30 frames, you will notice it throughout this game, because it is a PS3 remaster. But the problem with that is when they did the remaster, they tried to then allow for the PS4 to unlock it, and it just didn't work well. This game was patched a few times right when it came out, the remaster specifically, because it was like trying to unlock to get to 60, and people were saying like it looked really bad and it was like crashing, so they locked it. They knew what the benchmarks were for the game, so they went through and kind of like locked stuff at different areas.
Yeah, okay, I wasn't aware.
I didn't take note.
I think the game looks fantastic still, even like with the caveat that we understand that it's a 10-year-old game. It looks great. And I remember on PS3 when it came out, it was the best and the best front runner and best experience you could get in graphics outside of, the other really big contender at the time was Gears of War. Those were like the two graphical powerhouses, both cover shooters, going kind of toe-to-toe. I think they had similar release schedules, like October release schedules for a while, October, November. So they were like this was like their competing franchise back and forth, was these two. And Naughty Dog was PS4 or PlayStation exclusive, and Gears was Xbox exclusive. So like that was kind of like their competition.
Uncharted gets the win, though, because it has color. Gears of War is a brown game.
Yeah, there's a lot of very dark,
I'm kidding.
earthy tones.
There are a lot of
Gears.
games in this time period that where everything just looks brown. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I think the stories, but I mean, that's not what we're here for.
Nope.
Yeah, I think this game looks fantastic, and I didn't have a problem playing with it. Sometimes, like when there's dated graphics, I actually have issues playing with them. Like I get bored looking at it, or I just am like, I could play something that looks better. But I didn't have that issue with this. I was like, okay, let's do it. It's visually interesting enough that I think it'll be around for a while. Like I don't think it'll get old.
So visually, I have no complaints on the game. I thought it looked very good. Especially, I like that last city that you get to.
Shambhala looks amazing in this game.
Especially when you're like at the top and you can just kind of look down. But speaking on that, in general, this game lacked a lot of those moments. Those moments like in the first one when you walk out to the end of the submarine, where you can just kind of spin the camera out there.
I remember that.
Or I don't know if you remember my discussion, but it's like it's like early dusk in the first game, and you're approaching that fort, and you're climbing along the side of the building. I remember I made a big thing, just like that twilight look, and then the water below. I don't know, that was just a very amazing visual experience for me in the first game. And though the game looked great, it lacked those moments where they really want to show off the scenery in a way. I didn't see a lot of those moments in this game. But overall, I thought the game looked really, really well.
Yeah, I think from like a design standpoint, absolutely. Like I think the environments are more visually intriguing than in 2. But I think Shambhala specifically, like running around Shambhala and stuff, and like when you're under the tree canopy, when you're running around those ruins and stuff, I think Shambhala, even though you're only in it for 2 chapters, which sucks, I think that's the best so far that we have reviewed areas of the first 2 Uncharted games.
I'm not saying I disagree. I just I hadn't put it on quite that high of a pedestal.
But like wide sweeping visuals, there's not a lot in this game. There's not a lot to like sit still and look at in this game.
Yeah.
I think where they could be, there's a lot of action happening, and this is a more action focused
Go
Uncharted
Yeah.
version.
Like, I think the moments where you do get to see the landscape, or like landscapes I didn't really care to look at, like when you're on the building and you're looking down to see the tower because you're trying to follow the path,
Right.
and then you take the zip line, you get overview of this shitty looking city. You know what I mean? Like
Don't take Harry to any third world countries.
no, please don't.
God. The Himalayas I thought looked great. The mountains. But maybe that's just me.
There were some cool visuals in the ice cavern.
Yeah,
Where you
know
could
what?
see like the grandness of like the valley underneath and stuff. That was really cool.
How does Shambhala fit in the mountains? Is it inside a mountain? How does the sun come in? Is it there are mountains all around it and it's lush?
I think it's like a valley.
Is it a valley?
I
Yeah.
thought that's
And it all
how
comes
the
from
way
the
I
tree, right?
assumed
It all comes from the tree. That's
how
how it's
would
lush.
no satellites pick that up?
Google Earth.
Yeah, you just see like blue.
Hey, I found Shambhala. It's huge. I thought that some of the facial animations were a little hokey here and there. There were a couple times where Elena was like making a face and it didn't quite work. Maybe Drake here or there, but other than that, everything was gorgeous. Okay, let's swing our way into sound.
Music.
I think like the sound design is really well done. I think they have another really catchy intro, like title song.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well, I think it's the theme. I think it's the theme for the franchise.
yeah. They make a variant for every game though.
Oh, it's a little different.
I think they just like they tweak it a little bit to be
Instruments from the setting, maybe.
Yeah, kind of something like similar like that. Like I feel like in the third one, since there's a lot of like desert setting, they have more of like
spoilers.
I'm not. There's like more of like a
It's on the cover.
yeah. There's more of like an Arabian sound.
Arabian sounds. We do a
Like,
quick Google search.
Yeah. Like
I'm
like
kidding, I'm
music of that
Arabic. I did like some of the stuff when you're in Nepal, that it does that. The instruments represent the location, and some of the themes are good. But I think more about the gun and firearm sounds. I think more like how the Desert Eagle has like a deep boom, or the Dragunov has a deep boom, and the other guns are more normal. Or you can tell when there's a shotgun guy coming because you can hear him popping off. You can hear him to that deep. He's shooting thunder. I don't really think of the music.
His facial hair like 4 times in the past minute now.
Yes, I'm doing
The shotgun going off.
it. Sit on my hands. The shotgun sounds like thunder. Thunder. That and little stuff like if he pulls on if Drake pulls on like a ledge and it snaps off, you hear like little rocks falling, that kind of thing. I played the first half of the game without a headset, and then the second half I put my headset on because it was so late at night. I didn't want these big booming loud sounds, and there was some subtlety there that I wasn't getting before and could really appreciate. But I don't have a whole lot to write home about the composer or anything else for this. It's pretty standard action game, action movie music.
I don't remember anything from the music, to be honest. I think it was the voice acting that really stood out to me.
Yeah, Nolan North.
Fantastic voice actors in this game all around, and what a witty script that they wrote as well.
Sure.
I think that the dialogue really is strong in this game. Like I said, that last moment where they're standing looking off of the cliff, I just think is just a fantastic scene, just well written, and even the subtlety in they're not just reading it, like they're throwing a lot of emotion into their voice that really comes out as very realistic.
They're good
And-
actors, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So as far as sound design, that's what really stands out to me.
I think of a Chloe's voice as well as her having that accent, making her seem more exotic.
Deadass.
Throw it in the trash.
Let's stick the dagger in the hole and turn it a couple times and pull it out and get into final.
And the award for longest intro to a segment goes to
All right, let's just get into final thoughts then.
Just keep all of that.
Yeah, just keep the dagger, sticking the dagger in and out.
Twist it.
He's like talking about Chloe's ass, and then he's talking about like, oh yeah, just like stick it in and like twist it around, and then like pull it out. Sounded like a guardian over here.
Oh God. Final
or
thoughts.
Lazarevich when he drinks the resin.
Final thoughts.
Also getting veiny.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking of getting veiny.
Okay.
Final thoughts.
Rein it in. Final thoughts. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Harry, go first.
Final thoughts. Wow, we're already there. I enjoy this franchise. Overall, I think I like the first one more than the second one, although the second one has bigger peaks as far as quality of scenes.
It's in the mountains, bigger peaks.
Whoa.
I thought there was a dad joke coming.
No, it was no geological jokes. I really enjoy the experience. I think the pacing is great. I think the characters are great. I think it's one of those cases of like amazing characters in an okay story. I wasn't as enthralled with the
Chintamani Stone.
No, I think the supernatural element in the first game was more interesting, where it was like turning these well, it was almost the same concept, turning characters into creatures, just instead of it through a curse, or instead of through cursed dust, it was through cursed liquid. You know what I mean? Like,
Interesting.
I wonder where the third one's gonna take us. It's gonna be a cursed solid. Liquid, gas, and solids. And then we come back to Metal Gear.
What?
That liquid and solid and never mind. Yeah.
Oh, fucking
Brother, it's been too long.
Yeah, I know.
You should just not.
It's a fun game. It's like one of those it's enjoyable because you can play it so casual and not take it so seriously. Sorry, I'm like, oh, where'd my hair go?
Yeah, Harry's like playing with his like non-existent hair. He's like, it's just
it's me formulating the opinion. I gotta like pull thoughts from there
a little bit.
Harry is puppeteering himself above his head,
pulling out a wand, fucking pulling memories out. Like, how did I think of this?
Yeah. It's a fun experience overall. I think it's an enjoyable game, and I advise a lot of people to visit this universe.
Boom. Nice little button on it there. Clark, your final thoughts. Uncharted 2, Among Thieves.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. I pretty much feel the same way as Harry, but me personally, I think the peaks of having better moments put this over one for me. So I think this is the better of the two, but it's not my favorite. Also not my least favorite, but yeah, there is some similarities between the supernatural elements of 1 and 2. It maybe like they wanted to visit the concept again, but do things better. Because I actually think this is better than like the dust fucking zombie things. I don't know. It's yeah. I just think this is I think this is the next step in the right direction for the Uncharted series.
Yeah, it's kind of the perfect sequel to Uncharted in that it does everything, I think, a little bit better. But having said that, I still found that the shooting got tired to me. I started to get really tired of the shooting in the game, the gunplay. Everything else I enjoyed, and this game holds a special place in my heart, my first Uncharted game, and one of the first PS3 games I remember getting because I got the console a little late into its life cycle. Fond memories. Wish I'd never traded it. It's gorgeous. I'm glad the remake or the remaster is there. You guys really drove the same points home that I have. I just have some.
Well, when they're drunk, somebody's got to drive them.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I thought we said we were only doing one dad joke this time. Harry's got two, like back to back, rapid succession.
Ultimately, this is so far my favorite Uncharted, and to come off what you're saying, Clark, not like Harry who likes the first one better. I really enjoy this game, really like it, glad I got it, and it holds a special place in my heart. The end.
You said that with such judgment. Not like Harry, who thinks the first one's better. You made a face and a smirk. You're like,
My bad. All right. Let's score it.
The score.
I think this game is a buy, especially since if you have a PS4, you can get a fucking entire collection, the first 3 all together, $20 brand new. Absolutely worth it. I think this game was worth it at $60 in 2009, and any price that you had paid from MSRP to now, I think is definitely, it's worth it, every penny.
By the way, I just want to throw that idea out there. Like, I love that you can get this whole collection. Well, minus Uncharted 4, but like 1, 2, and 3 in just one package. I think is really cool. Love it. I think it's awesome.
The only thing you don't get is the multiplayer, which bums me out.
Why? It doesn't.
Some of that would be kind of dated by now. Like I can't see servers running.
That's the problem.
They'd be new servers.
They would have to spin up new servers, and they would have to bring all of the updates. It wouldn't all fit on one disc.
Is 4's multiplayer still active?
I don't know. I haven't checked that out in a while. But when we get to 4, I would like to delve into some multiplayer.
Mine's obvious. It's a gush. I will gush on this game. Gush over this game. I have gushed this whole episode. That's my review score. Gush.
Like I said, I do like the first one more, but I'm going to give this one an 8.0, which ties with the first Uncharted.
Oh, wow.
I still see it as a great game. This is a very marginal step down in my opinion, and it's not even a quality issue. It's just I had more fun with the first one. I'm going to hold this one in the same regards as the first one.
Okay, well, that was Uncharted 2 Among Thieves. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed playing it.
Stay sexy.
Stay sexy.
Super F out.
Put in the trash.
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.
Thanks for listening to Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Stay up to date on our Facebook at facebook.com/superfunpodcast.